Hey guys, how are you? This is Jim from the Pain PT, and today's topic is going to be about we want expression. We want expression. And what do I mean by this? So, you guys know I talk about chronic pain, chronic symptoms in your body as not being a structural physical pathology. If you do have something like that, then you should seek structural help, and those type of treatments should help you feel better. Now, if you have a condition that has been ruled out by the doctor and there's not a pathology there local, and it's been a long time, you've had it for a good number of years, or it started without any type of physical trauma, physical injury, then it's very likely to be an emotional symptom. And as I've been talking about with you guys, we need to view it like that. Now, Dr. Sarno talked about in all of his books about repressed emotions. And this is what he's talking about in the sense that repressed emotions are going to come out through symptoms. And you're not going to recognize them as maybe emotions. You're going to think they are physical structural symptoms. But once we've ruled that out, and we look at your history, and we look at your personality, and we look at how you deal with emotions, we can surmise that, hey, look, it's possible that you don't express your emotions as much as you should or acknowledge them as much as you need to. And what happens is these emotions go into your body and they come out as a symptom. Now, I always tell you the emotion is the symptom, but also, like Sarno says, it's a repressed emotion, meaning you're not going to know that that symptom is an emotion. It's not going to feel like a classic emotion. And that's where people get tricked. All right. But I've seen it enough times in people over and over and over again where a period of stress or just day-to-day stress, they can make the connection between that and a symptom going up. Okay. And there was clearly no physical cause, but clearly there was stress, emotional stress. And they noticed then a physical symptom in the body. So, long story short, let's get back to the topic of the talk here, which is about expression. We want expression. The reason why is because it's emotion. Emotion does not want repression or suppression. That's not what emotion likes. Emotion wants to be expressed, released. It wants to be moving. Okay, energy, emotion, emotion, energy, emotion. The emotion we want to be moving. The first thing we got to do is recognize that that's what it is. That's emotional awareness. Okay, emotional awareness and expression. So the first step is to become aware of that, hey, we're feeling an emotion. Then the second step is let it be expressed. Now, how can emotional expression take place? Well, there is a number of ways. There's not just one particular way, but we want to encourage potentially all these ways. And you can choose a couple of them or work with all of them. But essentially, the first one is a somatic expression. And for those of you guys who are joining in my group work on Wednesdays, 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time, we are working in the body in a very somatic way to allow the expression of our symptoms because they are emotions. We don't want to push it down. Okay, so we're trying to make an emotional connection to the symptom, see it as an emotion, and let it express itself in the body through the feeling. And that's what we call feeling your feelings. That is feeling your feelings. Okay, so we're letting the feeling, or you could call the symptom, run its course, let it express itself, which is completely the opposite of what we do for a physical symptom. A physical symptom we want to stop and fix and make go away and do whatever we can to stop it, essentially. But with an emotional symptom, that we don't want to do that, right? Because that's going to be suppression. That's going to be pushing it further down into the body or keeping it stuck. We want to let it come forth, let it come out, let it emote through the body. Again, feel your feelings. That's somatic expression. Now, there's other ways of emotional expression, right? Verbal expression, that's one of the most classic ways. That's one of the most common ways of expressing our emotions. That we speak our feelings. We put words to feelings. We talk about it. We tell somebody how we're feeling. I'm going to encourage you guys, and I encourage my patients as part of the recovery, to become more emotionally expressive. To use emotional words. Hey, I feel hurt. I feel sad. Hey, I'm angry about that. That wasn't right. I don't appreciate that. Let's talk about it. I'm feeling really down. I'm feeling really sad. This happened to me. I feel really sad about it. I want you guys to use more emotional words, because when you use those words, which we call affect labeling, I've talked about that. You can look for my other videos. What it does is it brings down the amygdala activity in the brain. That's the part of your brain that generates the emotion. So it starts to drop that activity, decrease the emotional distress, and you start to have less of that emotion in yourself. Now, you can verbally express that to somebody out loud. I encourage more communication, assertiveness, especially with anger, to use that emotion in a very assertive, affirmative way for your needs and wants and boundaries. But it applies to any other emotion, that we make that connection, we make that acknowledgement, we label it. Even if we're labeling to ourselves in our minds, in our heads, that, hey, I just got this pain going up. What's going on? Oh, yeah, that's got to be some anger coming up. I am frustrated. I am annoyed right now. Or, whoa, I'm feeling a bit anxious, and I've got this weird buzzy feeling somewhere in my body. I got a tinnitus, or I got some kind of tingling or vibration. Okay, I recognize that's anxiety. I'm going to label it to myself. Okay, so that's verbal expression. Now, we got a couple more. What else can you do? Written expression. It's classic, right? That's the journaling piece, the emotional expression through writing. Writing expression, written expression. That's why many studies show that writing down your emotional feelings is beneficial for your health. So I do encourage people to take, 10, 15 minutes a day. Write down your emotions, write down your feelings about adverse events, stresses, current, past. Get in touch with your emotions, because we're wanting to build emotional awareness and expression. That's this whole process. We're building emotional awareness and expression. Our focus should be on emotions, guys, not physical things. Okay, and Dr. Sarno said that you got to move your attention from the physical to the psychological. Don't be distracted by the symptom. Focus your energy on the emotions. That was his main message. So we can go through written expression in a way of journaling, writing unsent letters, writing just through each emotion, writing about adverse events, stressful events, traumas, things like that. Anything comes to mind. But it's good to get in the habit of that. Okay, good to get in the habit. Now, there's one other way, which is physical expression. That's a fourth way. And physical expression of emotion is what? Well, it could take a couple different things. Well, one thing is, if we're getting really sad, what happens in the body? It comes up and hits your eyes. You're going to cry. Okay, so if you feel really sad and you feel like you need to cry, then let yourself cry. Don't stop your tears. Okay, well, that's suppression. Okay, so if it comes up and you want to cry, see if you can allow that to happen. At the very least, allow the energy to emote out the eyes. Get really angry. What do you want to do? Well, you might want to curse and yell and shake somebody and punch something and rah. And that's how anger comes out. So one thing you can do is get physical. What do you want to do? I have some people who box, lift weights, do some physical work to release anger. All right, it's very, very therapeutic to do it that way, because that emotion is very strong. It needs expression. It's a lot of physical expression with anger, because it goes to your fist. It wants to punch. It wants to fight. It wants to strangle. That's what it does. It wants to yell. It wants to shout. Okay, so you can do some physical expression of that. Now, again, this is not the same thing as blind rage. Blind rage is when you're unconscious. You go into a rage, you don't even know what you're doing. Road rage is a classic case of that. We're talking about a conscious expression. You're aware of what you're doing. You're consciously allowing yourself to express these feelings, but you're still aware. You're not completely losing the awareness of what you're doing. Fear/anxiety. Now, again, most of what we talk about with fear is not real fear, guys. We talked about this. It's anxiety. Anxiety is a exaggerated fear, false fear, I call it. It's not real. There's no real danger. It's a perceived danger. So with anxiety, we got to work through it. We do not want to let anxiety control you. You do not want to listen to anxiety. You do not want to stop with anxiety. It's going to paralyze you. If you listen to anxiety, you'll be stuck. You'll avoid. You'll pull back, right? You'll become frozen potentially. You'll flee. No, we don't want to do that. Okay, so with anxiety, what can help burn off anxiety for people is exercise, general exercise, movement. You get the classic case of somebody, tapping their foot on the floor or shifting around their chair. They're a little anxious and they got a lot of energy and they can't sit still. So movement for those people can be helpful, but also you want to challenge anxiety. Anxiety, you got to challenge it. You do not listen to it, guys. If you listen to it, you guys know what happens. You're going to be stuck. You're going to feel like you're not moving forward. You're going to feel paralyzed. You're going to feel more anxious. Okay, so it builds and feeds and reinforces your anxiety. So physical things. You can get moving, get going, move through stuff, do more. Fear, again, will paralyze you. So if it's stuff you're holding back on, go for it, because this is just emotions, guys. This is not structural problems. We do not need to treat it like that. We do not. And we shouldn't, because again, it's coming from the brain, not from the body, which means it's signaling. It's nothing dangerous. It's nothing broken. There's nothing bad. Yes, you have symptoms, but again, these are emotional symptoms from your limbic brain, not structural problems from your body. We really need to distinguish that up front through a diagnosis, and then from that, we got to stick to our camp. We got to stay over here on this emotional side. We do not want to start drifting over here to the physical side when it's not a physical issue, because you're going to be misled. You're going to be creating doubt, more anxiety. You're going to slow your recovery down. Okay, guys, so once you've ruled out the structural, and once you know, don't go there. These words, these diagnoses that people have are not good. They're nocebos. You get diagnosed with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, chronic migraines, IBS, chronic back pain, and the list goes on, and you relate to that diagnosis, then you're in a structural world. Okay, most of those things, they don't find anything wrong, because there is nothing wrong. It's nervous system, brain driven. So drop the diagnosis, move to the emotion. What is it? What does this represent in me? How do I feel? Okay, I'm going to call it that now. It's emotion. It's repressed emotion in me. Well, let's see if I can figure out what it is. And from this day forward, I'm going to treat it like an emotion which needs expression. Expression for it to release. Somatic expression, verbal expression, written expression, physical expression. So you got a lot of options there, guys. But think about expression, not suppression. We already got repression for most people, meaning it's in the body. So let's not suppress it further. Let's let it out. Okay, which again is the opposite of what you would do for a physical condition. Okay, guys, hopefully that was helpful. We'll continue to dive into emotions and emotional expression, emotional awareness and expression. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.